Temperature does not tells us the amount of energy. It is the measure of energy possessed by a molecule due to its random motion. That is, particle के रैंडम मोशन के कारण उसमें कितनी एनर्जी है, that is quantified by temperature. Very important thing, people tend to confuse between temperature, heat, energy. So you see, what is heat? Heat was the mode of interaction of energy. It was a mode of energy interaction. Now what is temperature? Is it so that temperature is proportional? We have a habit of saying that temperature greater the temperature greater will be what? Greater the temperature greater will be the energy. No. You see, temperature does not tells us the amount of energy. ये हमें amount of energy कितनी है वो नहीं बताता है. Temperature does not tells us the amount of energy. It is a measure of the energy possessed. Though total amount, what is the total amount of energy or what is the total amount of heat energy, this is not quantified by the temperature. Temperature is a measure of energy that a particle possess ड्यू टू इट्स रैंडम मोशन. अपने रैंडम मोशन के कारण किसी मॉलिक्यूल में कितनी एनर्जी है, दिस इज क्वांटिफाइड बाय द टेम्परेचर. यू सी ना, what we have just, due to the random motion we saw what, that for a bulk of molecules we can write the energy, random energy, as half summation of mass into c rms square, isn't it? Where crms, how we were defining crms, root under 3RT upon m. इस तरीके से दे रहे थे हम. सो दिस वॉज द एनर्जी पोजेस्ड बाय द मॉलिक्यूल्स ड्यू टू द रैंडम मोशन. यहाँ पे ये सी आर एम एस आ रहा है. सी आर एम एस इज प्रपोर्शनल टू वॉट? प्रपोर्शनल टू टेम्परेचर टी. सो टेम्परेचर टेल्स यू द एनर्जी पोजेस्ड बाय द पार्टिकल by the virtue of its random motion, and it is not the measure of total amount of energy. It simply quantifies the energy which a molecule possesses due to the random motion. You got my point? What I'm trying to make out here is temperature. Temperature is nothing but temperature is a property. You can call it a property. Temperature is the property that quantifies the amount of energy possessed by a molecule by the virtue of its random motion. Fine. Now, studying thermodynamics can have two approaches. One is microscopic approach and second one is the macroscopic approach. What happens in microscopic approaches? Microscopic is something which you monitor at a microscopic level, isn't it? So, considering each and every molecule as an individual, studying all its associated motion, study about all the associated energy with each and every particles individually. That kind of study or that kind of approach to a particular subject is known as the microscopic approach. Fine. So this is basically for this mode of study, or this approach of study is basically meant for the scientists or the experts, isn't it? That is called the microscopic approach. While what we are going to adopt here is the macroscopic approach or the engineer's approach to a thermodynamics, to the thermodynamics. That will be the engineering approach to the thermodynamics, and that will be the macroscopic. We neglect the behavior of individual molecules. We study a system as a average. We study the average behavior of the system. We don't consider the behavior. It may happen so that when talking about, say, it may happen so that, say, this particular mass of weight, mass m, this particular mass m is moving with certain velocity v in this direction. So we are simply going to write that the kinetic energy is half mv square. We are not going to consider we are not going to consider that what are the numbers of molecules, that there may be different molecules, these may be moving randomly here and there, so taking the net effect. No, we are not going to do all this. We're going to simply consider the average speed of the system, that is v, and we are going to determine the whatever we are going to determine. Here we have determined the kinetic energy. So like kinetic energy, anything we can consider, but considering the average behavior or the average reaction of the system and not the individual behavior of the system. So this is the macroscopic. In this approach, the average molecular behavior is considered. Fine. Studied and individual molecule behavior is neglected. This approach is applied when continuum concept is applicable. So this becomes very important line. So and various 1 marks question is also formed from the continuum approach. And what is it? I'm going to tell you that what is continuum. This macroscopic, whenever we are considering a system to be whenever we are approaching a subject from macroscopic point of view, it becomes very important that continuum concept should be applicable. Only then we can go for the macroscopic approach. So what happens in this concept is, we consider that there's uniform distribution of matter throughout the system. There's the uniform distribution of matter throughout the system, and this is valid only when the mean free path, the mean free path is very smaller than the system dimensions. System के in fact characteristic dimensions of the system, we say systems characteristic dimension सिस्टम के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक डायमेंशन से छोटा होगा, सिस्टम्स के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक डिमेंशन से जब तक मीन फ्री पाथ छोटा होगा, वी कैन अज्यूम द कंटिन्यूम कंसेप्ट टू बी वैलिड. सो व्हाट इज इट? In this concept, the matter is treated continuously distributed with no holes or void spaces present. This concept is applicable till the mean free path is much less than the system's dimension. है ना, वही तो लिखा है. मीन फ्री पाथ जब तक आपका सिस्टम के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक डायमेंशन से छोटा रहेगा, तब तक हम मान सकते हैं कि कंटिन्यूम कंसेप्ट हमारा क्या है, वैलिड है. अब ये मीन फ्री पाथ क्या होता है भैया? मीन फ्री पाथ इज नथिंग बट इट इज द एवरेज पाथ अवेलेबल और एवरेज डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय अ सिस्टम्स मॉलिक्यूल बिफोर अंडरगोइंग टू सक्सेसिव कोलिजन. दो सक्सेसिव कोलिजन के बीच में जो भी सिस्टम के मॉलिक्यूल्स हैं, द एवरेज डिस्टेंस दैट दे कवर, दैट इज कॉल्ड द मीन फ्री पाथ. दैट इज कॉल्ड द मीन फ्री पाथ. नाउ let's come to microscopic. In this approach, the individual molecule behavior is studied. This approach is applied when the matter becomes rarefied. Gases के case में we are going to consider what? We are going to consider the microscopic approach. Fine. Whenever the system becomes rare, only then space exploration में we consider what? Microscopic approach. Rarefied gas flow theory used for this analysis. Rarefied gas energy theory or gas flow theory, not just for the sake of information you can consider. Now let's come to state of the system and the process. The condition of the system is called the state of the system. What was this state? Earlier we have studied this. Where have we studied this? Where we have come across this word state earlier? Yes, you got me right. We come when we were studying about properties. What we studied there? The properties were defined as the characteristics of a system that helps us to define the state of the system. State means what? State means simply the condition, how a system is. What is the condition of the system? In what condition the system is, that is defined by the state, and that is called the state. So the condition of the system, whatever the condition of the system be, that is called the state of the system. Fine. The state is defined by the properties of the system. How is the state defined? How is the condition defined? That is defined by the properties of the system. That is defined by the properties of the system. Like how is the state of status, how is the status of any person defined? Leave the ideological things apart. For the time being, just tell me practical point of view that how is the status, how you say that this particular person is very rich or very poor. How is the status of any person in the society is defined by the in terms of his assets, isn't it? The one possessing the greater amount of asset is said to be rich. The one who is possessing or possessing nothing is the one who is called poor, isn't it? So like the assets are used to define the status of any person, likewise property is used to define the state of the system, that what condition of the system will be is defined by its property. If, like, let's understand this with an example, that if mass is a property, if the measure of mass for any particular system it comes out to be very large, say 500 kilogram, fine, and there's another system whose mass is 5 kilograms, so what you can assume, what you can make out of it is that one having greater mass is certainly will be a bigger system, isn't it? You are able to connect just by knowing the property. You haven't seen the system yet. Just by knowing the property, you are able to connect that how the system could be, or at least you are able to compare between the two system, this condition of two system, that how it could be, how the system could be, how this system could be, isn't it? So you are able to make out how or what is the condition of the system just by getting, just by knowing the properties of the system, isn't it? So this is what we have written here. The state is defined by the properties of the system. If any one of the properties changes, the state of the system changes, isn't it? The person one who was at certain point of time very poor means he was not possessing any assets. Over the time he worked hard, he studied hard, he was able to capture too many properties. Capture means trying to say that over the period of his hard work and passage of time he was able to buy various assets. His condition changed, he became rich, isn't it? Similarly, what I'm trying to say, that as the amount of assets with you changed, your condition changed. As you had, as you began to have more money, your status, your condition, your stature changed in the society. Similarly, it was what? It was the property that was defining the state, and the moment any properties get changed, it will be said that your state has changed. What has happened? Your state has changed. So if any one, even one property, change in even one property is sufficient to bring change in the state of the system, fine. The change in the state is called a process. What is process? Whatever change in the system is taking place, it may have occurred due to certain kind of interaction. That interaction is a matter of exploration that we are going to explore in the further studies, fine. So this change in the property is called what? Is called process. Whenever there is a change in the property, we say that system has undergone a process. So change in property is merely what is your process, that's it. Infinite state through which a system passes while moving from an initial state for a finite state is called the process path. The infinite states through which a system passes, जिससे से कि सिस्टम पास करता है, while moving from an initial state फॉर अ फाइनल स्टेट, यहाँ पे फाइनाइट नहीं होगा, फाइनल स्टेट होगा. फॉर अ फाइनल स्टेट इज कॉल्ड द प्रोसेस पाथ. अब एक पॉइंट से सपोज यहाँ पे सिस्टम था आपका, इनिशियली द सिस्टम वाज हियर, द फाइनल स्टेट इज हियर. between them there are infinite states. Infinite states means to say that there are infinite points between 2 points. For any graph, you see, for any graph, for any graph between 2 points there are infinite points. There can be infinite points, isn't it? And every point possesses certain value of properties. So if the system has followed this path, so we can say that system has undergone through infinite states. So whatever infinite state the system goes through when it is in transition from an initial state to a final state, so in between whatever points, whatever the state has come during this transition of the system, tracing all those points gives you what? Gives you the path for that particular process. Gives you the path for that particular process. Gives you the path for that particular process. So path can be defined as the locus of all the intermediate infinite states which a system goes through when it is transiting from one state to another. Simple, that's it. Now the process can be classified as, this process can be classified as what? Quasi-static, non-quasi-static. What was process? How was the process defined? Process was nothing. Process was simply the change in the property. प्रॉपर्टी की चेंज को ही हम प्रोसेस कह रहे थे. और प्रोसेस के दौरान during the change from one state to another, whatever were the infinite states that the system was going through, tracing all those states gave us what? Gave us the path for that particular process. But process was change in the property. So process can be defined as quasi-static, non-quasi-static. Quasi means what? Quasi means almost, almost static. So quasi-static means the process, the change in the property is almost static. Almost static. So you will ask me that, sir, at one point you are saying that process is something which deals with change in something. And the next moment you are saying that process can be quasi-static. Quasi-static means almost static. So how can this be possible? That there is a change also and it is static also. How is this possible? Along hand. So we will see. What does this term quasi-static means? Quasi means almost. Static means sthir. Sthir. What does this sthir means in thermodynamics? Quasi, almost, equilibrium. हर एक state, whenever there is a occurrence of any process, it must go through certain path. If there is a process to take place, then there must be certain path through which the system has transited from one state to another, isn't it? Are you agreeing are you agreeing by me? Isn't it? So there has to be certain path. If there is certain path, there will be infinite states taking place between two states. There will be infinite states coming between two states. And at each and every state, during the transition from initial to final, whatever state that has come in between, at each and every state, the system is in equilibrium. The system is in equilibrium with its surrounding. The system is in equilibrium with its surrounding. And what is this equilibrium means? Equilibrium means there is infinitely small difference between the temperatures between the system and the surrounding. There is infinitely small difference between the concentrations of the matter. There is infinitely small difference of external forces between the system and the surrounding. We are note, this is when we are talking of each and every point at infinite points between two states. There were two states, infinite points between them, and at each and every point we are talking about this differences to be infinitely small. बहुत छोटा है, बहुत छोटा है. कौन कौन से differences? Temperature का difference means there is thermal equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, concentration का difference बहुत छोटा है, mechanical equilibrium यानी कि फोर्सेस का डिफरेंस बहुत ही छोटा है, बहुत ही स्मॉल है. फेज डिफरेंस दो में ऑलमोस्ट सेम फेज चल रहे हैं एट ईच एंड एवरी पॉइंट. जब ऐसा पाथ फॉलो होगा, जब प्रोसेस हमारा ऐसा पाथ फॉलो करेगा, जब उस पाथ में आने वाले हर एक स्टेट पॉइंट्स पे हमारी सिस्टम और हमारा सराउंडिंग इक्विलिब्रियम में होगा. कौन कौन से इक्विलिब्रियम में होगा? मैकेनिकल इक्विलिब्रियम, थर्मल इक्विलिब्रियम, फेज इक्विलिब्रियम और केमिकल इक्विलिब्रियम. ये चारों इक्विलिब्रियम जब साइमल्टेनियसली सेटिस्फाइड होंगे एट ईच एंड एवरी पॉइंट ऑन द पाथ of the process will be termed as what? Quasi-static process. Will be termed as what? Quasi-static process. अब आंख बंद करो और सोचो कि क्या कभी ऐसा कोई प्रोसेस देखा है जहां पे कि ये सारे चीज जीरो हो जाए? नहीं देखा होगा. क्यों? क्योंकि यही सारे डिफरेंसेस हैं, तभी तो हमारा सिस्टम एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट पे जाता है. अगर नहीं होंगे तो नहीं जाएगा. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? नाउ यू सी, फिर कंफ्यूजन आ गया कि सर होता है तब जाएगा, नहीं होता है तब जाएगा, नहीं जाएगा. तो फिर ये कैसे डिफाइन कर दिया? डिफरेंसेस होने चाहिए. हमने ये नहीं कहा कि डिफरेंस कितना होना चाहिए, डिफरेंस होना चाहिए. डिफरेंस अगर बहुत छोटा है, बहुत छोटा, टेंडिंग टू जीरो, प्रोसेस बहुत ही स्लो चलेगा. प्रोसेस बहुत ही स्लो चलेगा. यही होगा. डिफरेंस तो है, बहुत ही छोटा डिफरेंस है, तो बहुत स्लो चलेगा. फाइनाइट डिफरेंस है, मेजरेबल डिफरेंस है, तो प्रोसेस थोड़ी फास्ट हो जाएगी, हो तो जाएगी. तो यही समझना था कि डिफरेंस के कारण ही कोई प्रोसेस या कोई सिस्टम अपनी स्टेट चेंज करता है. सिस्टम और सराउंडिंग के बीच में अगर इन चार चीज़ों में डिफरेंसेस बहुत ही छोटा है, तो दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड व्हाट? दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड quasi-static process. Otherwise it is called the non-quasi-static process. Otherwise it is called what? Otherwise it is called non-quasi-static process. अब ये समझो कि हर एक पॉइंट पे ऐसे समझने के लिए है, ठीक है? कैसे समझोगे आप, वो मैं बता रहा हूँ कि हर एक पॉइंट पे सिस्टम इस पॉइंट से दूसरे पॉइंट पे बहुत ही स्लो चल रहा है, बहुत ही स्लो चल रहा है. समझ रहे हो? तो आप क्या देख पाओगे? आप देख पाओगे कि आप क्या देख पाओगे? आप ये देख पाओगे कि every point you can trace every point. The system is moving very slowly. एक सेकंड पे फोटो लिया, एक सेकंड पे फोटो लिया, एक सेकंड पे फोटो लिया, हर एक सेकंड पे आप फोटो लेते जा रहे हो. स्टिल फोटोग्राफ्स की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. So if the system is very slow, you are able to capture each and every moment of the system, isn't it? कर लोगे? अब मैं बहुत तेजी से भाग रहा हूँ, आप हर सेकंड फोटो निकालो मेरी. will you be able to capture my each and every moment? नहीं, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. नहीं कर पाओगे आप. क्यों नहीं कर पाओगे? कि आप तो एक सेकंड बाद ले रहे हो, तो एक सेकंड में हो सकता है मेरा ये हाथ यहाँ आ जाए, लेकिन यहाँ आने में it has passed through various states in between, जो कि आप कैप्चर नहीं कर पाए. नहीं कर पाए ना? नहीं कर पाओगे. मैं स्टिल हूँ, धीरे आप मेरी फोटो निकाल लोगे, ऑलमोस्ट निकाल लोगे, है ना? तो ये समझने वाली बात है कि जब भी प्रोसेस हमारा क्वासी स्टैटिक होता है, दैट इज ऑलमोस्ट स्टैटिक हो रहा है. So process बहुत ही slow चलेगी. You will be able to trace each and every location, each and every point, each and every state in between the two states. Therefore, whenever we trace a quasi-static process on any thermodynamic graph, thermodynamic diagrams, we denote it by a bold line, because we definitely know that fine, these were the states through which the system has passed, and therefore they are joined by a bold line. But when talking about the non-static process, we join two states by a dashed line. We don't know that exactly what could have been the path followed by the system in between these two states. So this we assume, and therefore since it is our assumptions, so we represent it by a dashed line and not with a bold line. So quasi-static process or quasi-static equilibrium processes are joined by bold lines, while the non-quasi-static processes are joined by dashed lines. So whatever I made you understand through uh, mm, these examples, fine, just for the better understanding of yours, the same the same process has been, the same example in terms of some technical things has been given to you here itself. So since this is not of consideration, because this is not going to be asked in any of your examinations, so there's nothing, but you can just, for the sake of information, you can see here that say there was a pressure gauge installed here in a system in a piston cylinder arrangement. So initially, say the initial pressure was 150 kilopascal and the final pressure is 125 kilopascals. So between these two states there is a finite difference. There's a finite difference between these two. So what is happening, or you say that the difference is small between these two. So what has happened, that initially it was measuring this much. Whenever there are two pressure gauges installed, one at this end, one at this end. So when the pressure is 150, what has happened, the reading, whether you install a pressure gauge here in the system or at the lower point of the system, you will get to see what you will get to see, the uniform reading at both the pressure gauges. Uniform reading at both the pressure gauges. Uniform reading at both the pressure gauges. Fine. You have slowly made the system to compress. You have slowly made the system from this state to come to this state. You have slowly compressed the system such that at any point of time the reading between this pressure gauge and this pressure gauge is almost same. This pressure gauge and this pressure gauge reads same reading at any point of time. Fine. And therefore at every state you were able to locate, okay, 140, it is 150 at this point of time, you have slightly compressed it. Fine. It has become 149.99. Then it comes to 140. So corresponding to that particular point, you were able to quantify the different properties associated with the system. So you were easily able to locate these states here on this point, here on this graph, and therefore you were definitely able to join them with a definite bold line. But what happened here is, so initially the meter reading was 100 kilopascals at both the pressure gauges. You suddenly did what? You suddenly did what? You suddenly compressed it to, you suddenly compressed it to this state, which is say 100 degree. So what you will observe, that you have suddenly done a process, you have suddenly compressed the thing. So the reading at this pressure gauge is somewhat different, is still 150, but is sorry is there so, but at the lower end is 100 only. Here it is 150. Why is it so? Because pressure gauge is reading in a way what, the closeness between the molecules. Since the piston has suddenly compressed, though the molecules present in the proximity of this uh, piston, they were compressed, but the molecules that were away from the pistons, they still were able to manage a, they were still able to manage somewhat the distance which was equal to the initial. So the pressure at the lower end, it remained 100 only. It remained 100 only, whatever it was earlier, so it remained 100 only. So we see that in case of non-quasi-static process, so when you will leave it for certain period of time, so then on what happened, this due to the diffusion of molecules from higher pressure region to the lower pressure region, this gas will uniformly, these gas molecules will arrange them uniformly, and then you will get to see the uniform measurement at both the gauges. But initially what has happened, only the gauge which is in proximity, or only the molecules that is in proximity of the piston, and the arrangement and the attached gauge is showing the increase in pressure, and not the one which is installed at the lower end of the piston cylinder arrangement. So what has happened here, that how the system has come from 150 kilopascal to 100 kilopascal, that you cannot say. And what actual part the system may have gone through, you cannot say that. So you are not determined about the absolute part taken, so the transition of state is shown by a dashed line and not by a bold line. So this was all about non-static and quasi-static. So property remains uniform and are joined by the lines. So the properties remain uniform. You see here the properties are not uniform. So the properties are not uniform here. Here the properties are uniform, because at each and every state, corresponding to each and every state, the properties throughout the system remains the same. Though it was changing, but it remained the same throughout the system. In case of quasi-static, a process is said to be quasi-static process if it takes place infinitely slowly. I told you that the system is going to occur infinitely slow. So quasi-static processes are infinitely slow process. Otherwise, non-quasi-static process, or if it is not infinitely slow, it will be termed as non-quasi-static process. A frictionless quasi-static process is a reversible process. We will see that what is reversible process and what is non-reversible process. But for the time being, we need to understand one thing, that frictionless, if a process is quasi-static means to say if it is occurring infinitely slow, almost statically, if it is taking place, and along with, if it is a frictionless also, if it is a frictionless non-quasi, if it is a frictionless quasi-static process, then it will definitely be a reversible process. Then definitely it will be a reversible process. So what point we have to make out here is that the moment we see this term in the question, frictionless or quasi-static, we will assume it, we can safely assume it to be reversible process, and this is and only reversible analysis we are going to do here in our syllabus, so we can easily apply the equations what we have studied for the reversible process. जबकि नॉन क्वासी फास्ट होने के कारण within the two states molecule don't get enough time to adjust, and therefore properties are not uniform, and hence we don't locate them exactly on the property diagram. So exactly what I have made you understand in the easier language. So this is what I have written here. That's it. Reversible and irreversible process. The process can be classified. We saw initially we classified it into quasi-static and non-quasi-static. Then we can also classify the process in terms of reversible and irreversible process. A process is said to be reversible if it can be reversed in the direction following the same path with the system and the surrounding returning back to their initial conditions. यदि हम किसी प्रोसेस को रिवर्स कर सकें, ठीक है, कैसे? फॉलोइंग द एग्जैक्ट सेम पाथ, जिस पाथ से सिस्टम इस स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट गया है, अगर इसी पाथ पे अगर वी मेड द सिस्टम टू ट्रेवल बैक and we are able to restore the system into its initial state as well as the surrounding to its initial state, then we can say that this process is what? Process is a reversible process. But what we generally get to say is the path is same, the system has been restored to its initial state, but we fail to restore the surrounding, and hence The properties that we generally encounter in practical life are non-reversible. Fine. So it is a reversible. A process is said to be reversible if it can be reversed back in the direction following the same path with the same system and surrounding, returning back to their initial condition. और अगर ऐसा नहीं हुआ, then the process is irreversible. Now you see there are two statements which are generally asked in objective exams are quasi-static compression or expansion of gases is considered as reversible. The ideal fluid flow from a nozzle, diffuser, etc. are considered to as reversible. Fine. So there was a statement one, quasi-static compression. If there is a quasi-static, very slow compression or expansion of any gas, it can be considered as reversible. I told you that the moment we see this term frictionless or quasi-static, we can consider it to be reversible. Fine. Also note, not every quasi-static process is reversible. This is very important. Not every quasi-static process is reversible. Only frictionless quasi-static process is reversible. Only frictionless quasi-static process is reversible. Very important. ठीक है? Not all quasi-static process is reversible. Fine. Note, only frictionless quasi-static is only frictionless quasi-static process is what? Only frictionless quasi-static process is reversible. Are you getting my point? The ideal flow, when we are talking about the ideal flow of what? Fluid or no fluid, whenever we are talking about the ideal flow from a nozzle or a diffuser, then they can be considered to be reversible one. The infinite states through which a system passes while moving from an initial state to a final state is called the process. Again, the same page is here also. This one is also. The merely difference was of this page. Then this was the statement of quasi-static, which we earlier discussed in a great detail. So these are the thermodynamics equilibrium which I was talking about. Thermodynamic equilibrium, a system is said to be in thermodynamic equilibrium if it satisfies all the three equilibrium conditions. That is the thermal equilibrium, the equality of temperature, there is no difference between the system and the surrounding in terms of temperature. Then is the mechanical equilibrium, that is the equality of forces, the forces are equal, there is no difference of forces acting on the system and the surrounding. Chemical equilibrium, there is a no chemical reaction potential between. Chemical reaction potential is due to the change in concentration. So means to say that the concentration of the chemical is same in the system as well as in the surrounding. So it is chemically equilibrium. Phase equilibrium, the mass of each phase remains constant with time. There is no change in the mass of each phase. So if all these four equilibrium conditions are satisfied simultaneously, only then we say that the thermodynamic equilibrium is established between the system and the surrounding. So this was it for now. We'll see you in the next lecture.